What are some of the effects that cell phone usage can have on your brain?
Literally, it fries your brain. Everything that you can determine as turning on as a stressor in the brain turns on because of it. As soon as the quantum upgrade was turned on, even though that guy had the 5G phone on his ear, 5G call was simulated for 30 minutes. Quantum upgrade was turned on, and within like 3-4 minutes, not only his headache went away, also this disturbance frequency went away. So the quantum upgrade is basically your own customized quantum field that you can book for yourself or for your pet or for your home or location. You are literally placed in the field. That's through quantum entanglement.
But we do live in a world that's driven by science and data. So how do you explain quantum energy to someone who's skeptical without sounding too spiritualized?
I'm not claiming that we invented source energy, right? We obviously didn't. It's always been there. It will always be here, but we found a mechanism on how to access it and how to make it available in this reality. By now we have over 70 different studies, over 48 of those placebo-controlled. That means those can be considered clinical trials because they're randomized, they're blinded. It's a really big deal. It's not just some simple before and after testing. We as humanity are in this cycle right now where we need tools and bridges that help us get there, because it's time to get out of this Kali Yuga, out of the density, out of all the material, right? It's all nice, but we're evolving right now.
Ever since I wrote my goals down with the pen, my dreams and reality have both been blending in. I just hope that in the end, my debt don't extend me out my dividends if it did.
Today's guest is someone who is bridging the gap between science and energy, quantum physics and real-world application, proving that the invisible forces that are around us might be more powerful than we ever imagined. Philip von Holtzendorff-Fehling is the founder of Quantum Upgrade. It's a groundbreaking technology. You've heard me talk about it in every episode, and it harnesses quantum energy to enhance vitality, mental clarity, and even the energetic frequency of spaces and devices like the phone that's in your hand right now. And in fact, I have the service activated on me and even activated on the podcast itself. So you might even feel the energy just from listening to this episode. If you want to experience the quantum energy for yourself, Philip is giving, quite frankly, listeners a free 2-week trial. So just go to quantumupgrade.io and utilize the code FRANKLY for a free 2-week trial. In this conversation today, though, we're unpacking what quantum energy really is, how it's being used to upgrade everything from our biology to the environment, and the skepticism around quantum energy, what's real, what's placebo, and how to separate genuine technology from hype. Before we get into the interview, just a reminder to hit the subscribe button or follow wherever you're listening. And Philip, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Of course, yeah. So we've had you on every season so far. You're the only person who we talk to every season. And yeah, actually, you know what? I just remembered on the way up here, you said you have to try the brain support frequency. It's my favorite. And I forgot to turn it on. But tell me what that is.
So we developed that specifically to help almost everything within the brain and to mitigate all of the negative effects that even 5G has on your brain when you have the phone really close to your ear and have a long call, that's the biggest issue right now that you can have for the brain, or sit in an electric car with it, right? And so that we developed, and it got tested and studied with the most advanced EEG device on the market in Europe. It's like a $150,000 device. It was quite incredible what we saw. It was also something new to me, to be honest, because I'm very much aware of the dangers of EMF and all of that. I was VP at T-Mobile, as you know, and I've seen all of this. I've seen all the studies in regards to the blood and heart rate variability, but I had no idea it has such detrimental effects on the brain. I knew it was bad, but not that bad. And
like what? What are some of the effects that cell phone usage can have on your brain?
Literally, it fries your brain. It literally adds so much stress to the brain that everything that you can determine as turning on as a stressor in the brain turns on because of it. And this expert that was looking at the EEG, she's one of the experts for EEG in Europe, and she said, if you look at that, it's basically as if it puts your brainwaves into an artificial box. Means the brainwaves aren't natural anymore. You're not free anymore. It's a crazy box you then live in brainwave wise, and within that you function in stress. And it was just amazing to see that with each test person, all of that got mitigated. And the most exciting one was there was this old man who had a brain stroke 10 years ago. And then this lady had tested his brainwaves over time, like every other year or so. And he had a disturbance frequency in his brain since that brain stroke. And they tried to get rid of it. And he went to all kinds of different brain specialists and all of that. And nothing ever worked. And she told us that already before this study with him was actually done. And then guess what happened? As soon as the quantum upgrade was turned on, even though that guy had the 5G phone on his ear, like 1 centimeter away, that's like 1/3 of an inch, and a 5G call was simulated for 30 minutes, quantum upgrade was turned on, and within like 3-4 minutes, not only his headache went away that he had from the 5G call beforehand, also this disturbance frequency went away.
Wow.
Yes.
So for people who are listening for the first time, what is quantum upgrade? And then also, what is this brain frequency? Like, what is it actually delivering? You know how like, for people who know, like the cat one, the cat frequency, the calm for cats, it's mimicking like elephants when they're in a group and that calm feeling they have and that trust that they have.
Yeah.
What is the brain frequency, but also what is quantum upgrade?
So the quantum upgrade is basically your own customized quantum field that you can book for yourself or for your pet or for your business or for your car or for your home or location, whether it's a farm, an apartment, or a house, doesn't really matter. And you are 100% in control of it, which is the phenomenal part. So you can sign up, you put in the data, and then you can start it basically on your end, and then it starts. But it doesn't work the way that we send the energy to your home or to you. You're literally placed in the field. That's through quantum entanglement. You are then in the field, and as long as you are in there and you don't click the pause button, you're in it. And no matter where you go, you're in it.
Wow, that's blowing my mind, because it's almost like, I have the Leela, your other company, Leela blocks at home. You put stuff in it. So now that thing is in the field. So it's kind of like we are being put into this like massive Leela block.
Correct, with a huge difference that you can fully customize the energy levels now from low to high. You can book in all kinds of different frequencies, and we'll get into that. We have, I think, around about 30 different frequencies right now that we're offering, and you can pause it at any time. And very importantly, we made it in a way that everyone is in their specific energy field and is not commingled with anyone else, we won't get into that. It's too complicated.
It's too complicated, but I know what you're saying. In the blog, don't put two photos together.
Two in there.
I've made the mistake.
Yeah.
I swear the weirdest things happen.
Yes.
Like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
Because you told me after I had already done it once, because I told you what I was doing, and it was me and some friends decided, let's put all our photo in there together. And I asked you, I was like, hey, I'm feeling weird things and things are happening, things are getting accelerated. And you were like, yeah, that's what happens, in the block. So it's a huge lesson. But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. That could be a whole podcast episode.
Exactly. But to your other question with the brain support frequencies, so it's the frequencies that we develop, they're based on either physical substances, that would be a molecular frequency, or it's an etheric frequency. It could also be a sound frequency. There's all kinds of different frequencies, and even number of frequencies there are, right? And it's a specific vibration that you need in order to balance out an issue, for example. So the brain is very complicated, right? So we try to find one that's really beneficial to the brain, gets you into a state of very strong, amazing presence. And that is something that I tell people also. If you turn that on, first of all, if you do it the first time, drink a glass of water as you do it or before you do it, and then feel, and you'll notice an increased presence. You'll notice that you are able to process information faster and more information at the same time. But it's not just about thinking and clear thinking. It's also awareness. So when you're somewhere in a room or at a party, for example, you suddenly notice more around you going on. You may notice someone over there that you know that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. So it's an enhanced awareness in a very calm way, and you can even learn faster with it. And we're now right now in the research. A pilot study has already shown it also helps to decrease anxiety and depression. Now that is not statistically significant yet, but we're really onto something there. And this EEG is absolutely, phenomenal, that study. That study is going to be enhanced also and then published in a medical journal, because that EEG device and what's being measured there, that is fully mainstream. And this is something,
so it's undeniable now.
It's absolutely undeniable, and it's phenomenal results also. I mean, it's a medical breakthrough if you really think about it. What is possible with this.
What frequency do you have around you right now? Or what frequency, I guess I should say, are you in?
Yes, the brain support frequency.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I've been here at this conference and talking all day. I had a presentation, I had other interviews. So I'm drained pretty much from all of that and from all the talking at the booth. But if I turn that on and at higher levels, it gives me renewed awareness and presence and the ability to talk everything through. Yeah.
The people at these kinds of, I was actually telling Dave this, he was at my house a few days ago to record, and Dave Asprey, and I said to him, I feel like the biohacking conference and all of them really are even sometimes more spiritual, like the people you meet, than the actual conferences that were made for spirituality. And so I'm sure that you get a lot of people here who understand. I'm seeing everybody walk around with the Leela necklaces, which is always so cool. I go, oh, you're wearing your Leela. But we do live in a world that's driven by science and data. So how do you explain quantum energy to someone who's skeptical without sounding too spiritualized?
Yeah. Well, so I always say, even if you've forgotten it, we're energy and frequency to begin with. And I think everyone is sort of on board with that, right? We're not just a physical thing, right? We're energy and frequency that is living in this thing, right? That's what we are. And we're also infinite and eternal. Maybe that's not too important for some people, but it's still somewhat the truth. And when we're energy and frequency to begin with, then we can also impact everything within us with energy and frequency. And you can feel that energy when you just sit. And when you can feel that energy. You can even feel energy around your physical body. That's how I tell people at first to get in touch with it. There's always energy behind the matter. And the energy we're talking about is not artificial, it's source energy. That's the energy we work with. And it may sound big, right? But I mean, I'm not claiming that we invented source energy, right? We obviously didn't. It's always been there. It will always be here. But we found a mechanism on how to access it and how to make it available in this reality. Think of a computer game and you're running around there and you're running out of life, for example, but then suddenly someone is dropping this sherry there that you can pick, and when you pick it, you get like 3 extra points of life force energy. That's pretty much what we've been able to do, that you can suddenly tap into this here in a way never before possible.
But then for people who feel like they hear the word quantum and they think it's another wellness trend, how do you separate that with by explaining the actual science and the data that you have?
Yeah. So first of all, I think it's an actual wellness trend actually now, in a very positive and significant way, because medicine even will be to a large degree frequency medicine in the future.
Yeah.
Now we're in the very early stages of this, but that's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Because it's completely non-invasive and you can do a lot of things with it. Now, well, I think I lost the second part of the question.
Because you have so many studies and science behind this. So that's what I was going to say. How do you it's just not another trendy thing. There's valid science behind it.
100%. I think by now we have over 70 different studies, over 48 of those placebo-controlled. That means those can be considered clinical trials because they're randomized, they're blinded, and it's a really big deal. It's not just some simple before and after testing. And we went through those efforts early on because we knew it's something very intangible for a lot of people, right? It's not something that, it's a new technology and people need to certainly get used to it first and understand it more. So all this research that we've accumulated now, undeniable. It's been done by multiple institutions across the world, top-notch researchers, investigators in their fields. To name a few, Dr. Beverly Rubik in the US, the Base Institute in Austria, Dr. Robert Schief at the University of Tulsa, then this institute with the most advanced EEG device on the market in Europe. So it's no joke. Yeah. It's really big.
Are you a healing practitioner who is stuck in a job that drains your soul? Or maybe you are currently practicing but struggling to find the right clients and be seen? Well, in my online course, Awaken the Healer Within, I will show you how to ditch imposter syndrome, awaken your spiritual gifts using real, ancient, Vedic, and Egyptian techniques, and all at the same time build a prosperous business with soul-aligned clients who want to pay you. I'll show you the exact strategy that took me from 4-time Emmy Award-winning journalist to healing practitioner making 6 figures. Plus, there's a weekly coaching call so that I am guiding you every step of the way. Now, if you're ready to turn your purpose into prosperity, just visit awakenedhealers.com/join. Every time I talk to you, I feel like you have new results from a new study, which is always so exciting too. And in the test that you did, it was the quantum upgrade on the phone or on the person?
On the person. And that is also what I recommend to everyone. Okay. So if you can have it on your phone, but the most powerful is if you have it for yourself, because then literally you are in the field and your energy field is directly supported by it. So
but you have to have it on brain support?
Well,
or does it just in general, being in the field, does that help support your being protected from EMF in all forms?
It helps you. And in regards to the blood and heart rate variability, for example, just the regular standard settings without any particular frequency helps already. Oh. With the brain, it also helps, but you need the brain support frequency to go all the way for the brain. And it has a lot of effects way beyond the EMF, obviously, that I just described. It totally doesn't matter, but it has this amazing EMF effect as well.
Wow. So even if you don't choose a frequency, I totally forgot about this because I'm always so focused on the frequencies because the others are already set. So I'll think, okay, today I want inner peace. Oh, this is a busy week. I'll do the focus. But actually, the really amazing thing is even the baseline before you even choose those special frequencies you want on you is that you have, so for people who might not, we've talked about this for sure in the first season, the level of consciousness from the Hawking scale, which now we go beyond even what he wrote about in the book Power versus Force. Yeah. But there's in his book, 1 through 1,000, you can actually, and these are different levels of consciousness. So let's say you're in the 500s and you're like a Mother Teresa type. 600s, you might be more like Gandhi. In the 400s, you're focused on pride. Below that, maybe more survival. So that's what we mean. But you just being in the field is putting you up at in the high thousands.
Correct.
Beyond 1,000. So you're basically operating from that level of consciousness.
Correct. And so that invites you into your own completeness a lot more than these lower vibrations. And then you're calling in yourself in a different way. And that has a lot of ripple effects in a very positive way. So you're absolutely correct. And then, just for the people to know, we should definitely talk about the other research also, because it's not just about brain support and brain waves. There's so much more. And there's also a lot of stuff that you and I haven't talked about. You're really interested in it.
Like
too.
What?
Well, mitochondrial function, for example, I think is a big one. I think we talked about increase in ATP production. Yeah. We talked about acceleration of wound healing by 50 to 100% done by the University of Tulsa.
With just the base?
That was just the base, okay. Not even a particular frequency. And I mean, I would bet my house that with the Heal 360 frequency, we would accelerate it even further. But there's only so much you can do on a day in terms of research, right? So
yeah, true. You have to get very niche.
Yeah,
we're looking at mitochondria.
Yeah. So I think you can do a lot more in ATP production if you use the world champion frequency or the Olympic performance frequency. I would also bet my house that you can increase it even further than just the basic quantum energy. But hey, just the basic quantum energy already does so much. I mean, an acceleration by 2x of wound healing of human cells. Wow, I mean, that's quite crazy, right? But so that was now validated also by a pilot study by MeScreen that actually looked at blood of humans in a test study, and they looked also at the cell danger response, etc. So all of those findings were verified, which is quite significant. And then there was an interesting study done by Reputable Health in regards to fertility. Fertility in women. And so they reached out to us and said, we heard about your technology and it seems so great. Does it help with fertility? I said, well, I don't know. I'm guessing it does, right? That's really what I'm guessing, but we had not done any studies, so I couldn't tell you. And they said, we're super interested in this. We have these hundreds of women that are all worried about it. It gets worse every year. And would you be open to a study? And that's what they do for a living, right? It's an institute that just runs these studies. And we said, yeah. So we provided the technology, they ran the study. And it turned out that all these women had significant improvement in all markers. One of them was HRV, but there were a lot of other markers that, point to a significant increase in fertility and the ability to get babies and to be more healthy. And to the point when the study was completed, everyone at that institute signed up for the quantum upgrade, paid full price, didn't even tell us about it, didn't even ask for a discount because they saw the results were so phenomenal.
Wow.
And they told us like 4 weeks later when we met the CEO at a conference who wanted to meet me in person, he said, your technology is amazing. I thought this can't work, but this is crazy. And we all signed up. I said, why didn't you ask for a discount code? We would have given you a discount. We said, it doesn't matter. We just all needed it. Yeah.
But was there a direct correlation, or was it just like, HRV, but we know that helps fertility? Was there anything specifically with like reproductive organs or function or anything?
So I think they have 15 or 20 different markers that they looked at. And all of those are, because there's not one marker for fertility. So that's apparently what, in general, per consensus, they look at as determining, okay, so you're more fertile or not. Yeah.
Most people like think of energy in terms of caffeine or sleep. How do you describe energy when you say people feel like energized from, whether it's the 360 frequency or just the general field or the Olympic performance?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, if the listeners now maybe tune in real quick and then think about something that's super exciting for them, like positively exciting, like, I don't know, you're gonna go to a football game if you watch football and you've waited all your life to see this specific team, or I don't know, you have a birthday party coming up.
So being like excited for life.
Yeah, and then that energy that you feel like, wow, you will feel more energy. That is the type of energy that I'm talking about, and that's a very natural energy that comes from deep within. And it's completely different from a coffee buzz, for example. When you drink coffee, you also get more energy, but it's an unnatural buzz you're getting. It's not coming from within, it's coming from something different. And that's what I'm talking about.
Have you done any experiments with environments with quantum energy? Because a lot of people don't realize, I think, that like not just your food and water, but even the environment you're in can have a depleted energy.
100%. So, our tech is, set up for that. Even very negative energy that has stored there for a while can be reset within minutes. So let's say there's a property that you want to buy, but 3 people got shot there 50 years ago, for example. That energy is still there.
Yeah.
And you know that, right? And so a lot of people may not feel it consciously, but subconsciously you do feel it, and it may feel awkward or not nice. There's something there. The field clears that completely, and any other environment too, because in every hotel we have stress, for example. So I don't go into any hotel anymore where I don't set the quantum upgrade beforehand, and that's actually a nice thing. Everyone that signs up, after 30 days they get a free field for location, and after 45 or 90 days, they get another second field for location, which is for free, but it's limited to 600 on the Hawkins scale.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
cannot
yeah,
set frequency, and you can put it for any location in the world, an animal shelter, a hospital, a school, but you can edit it at any time. So if you travel to, I don't know, Palm Springs tomorrow and you're in a hotel, you can set the hotel on 600 on the Hawkins scale, and then before you get there, the energy is already all cleared in the hotel, and you just have a nicer environment.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it, and that's how many people do it.
I'm flying to Virginia tomorrow, so maybe I'll do that. Because you've told me a few times to do that, and I just never remember to do it. And I have one of the free ones that's just on a stray cat, because I know its name, and it always just comes into our yard. So I have it on that cat. He actually stopped crying. He used to cry outside our window every day. I did an energy clearing on this cat, and then I also put the quantum upgrade, and he probably cried maybe twice in the last 6 months. Wow. And it used to be every night.
Wow.
Like 4 a.m. would just start outside my window crying because I think he wanted my cats. And so it really does work in ways that even when it can't be placebo, because this cat has no idea what we're doing, But you said something about the space. What did you say? Like people dying? Oh yeah, I don't know. This is completely unrelated, but I thought it was interesting. Is that one of my clients a week ago said that they really wanted this house, and she's like, my husband is not into the spirit. She comes to me for energy clearing. She's a corporate executive, but she's like, my husband's not into this stuff, but whatever I want, he's like, he's so cool about it. He's like, all right, just do it, And so they were looking at a house that they really wanted to buy in New York, and she was like, look, when you go to the showing today, put this crystal there somewhere, because somebody told her if you put something valuable of yours at the house, it's like it's already yours because something of yours is there. And so this is just a tip for people. And so her husband did it like reluctantly, and they got the house. And she told me by the time they looked at it, it had already had several offers, and they still got the house. And it reminds me of like there's in Vedic astrology, one thing I really like that's a common remedy for people is like, let's say you're meant to go to jail. You're in court, whatever is coming up, and it's not looking good. You go to the jailhouse where you're meant to go, and you take water from the bathroom, and you just keep it in your room. Because it's like, okay, I'm meant to drink the water from jail. I'm meant to be in jail, so just keep it in your room. And then it's like, okay, you kind of fulfilled that karmic thing. Very interesting. Or if the last example, if somebody says, but it's the same theme. If somebody says, your first marriage will be a failure, you have, do your second one. They'll marry a tree. They'll do a whole ceremony with a tree so that, okay, the first one failed, you know what I mean? So that the second one won't fail and it'll be their first real one. But it's like all these very interesting remedies that have to do with homes and like bringing in that energy so that you don't have to experience it.
So here's another one, and that is really what you can apply with the quantum upgrade. And we have multiple realtors that know about this and that do that. So if they have houses that some just put it on every house actually, that they want to sell, that they put on the market, but they figured it out by putting it on houses that wouldn't sell. There's this one realtor I know of that couldn't sell a house for like a whole year, and there's literally nothing, no movement, no showing, no nothing. Put it on the quantum upgrade within 2 weeks. There was a buyer, everything got cleared, and then they moved along the process. It got all sold.
Did they just put the address of the house in one of the free fields?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think she got the real quantum upgrade actually, and put a little higher levels in there. But I think 600 would be totally sufficient.
So you think if somebody has it? The reason I asked is like I have friends who are realtors, and I have one that I just never really use. It's that free one. I can say just whenever you're showing a house, I'll put it in for you.
Yep. Wow. Just do it early enough so that the energy can already clear. Because if you turn it on right in the moment where the people come, it's doing all the work in that moment, and you want to come maybe already an hour or 2 hours later. Yeah.
Oh, I'll just leave it on for them until they sell it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It works because the negative stuff gets basically sucked out energetically and transformed.
Yeah.
So it's a nicer environment suddenly, and everyone feels that, right?
Yeah. Speaking of feeling it, a lot of people feel burned out, they're exhausted, depleted, especially now. Like, I just keep getting phone calls. I don't know if it's the eclipse or the full moon, but everyone feels depleted and overwhelmed and are probably very rightfully so skeptical of a quick fix. But this quantum field, you say, works within minutes of activating it, right?
It actually, once it's active. So the thing is, it takes about, up to 5 minutes. If you said, okay, I started now, then it could start within 20 seconds or up to 5 minutes, because our system updates every 5 minutes. And whenever you do that, so that's where the lag time comes from. But once the system is on, we can see that energetically. But the lady in the EEG, for example, she sees it also right away. It's like a second. It's instant. It's absolutely instant. The moment it turns on, you can see the effects in the blood. You can see the effects in the heart rate variability. You can see the effects in the brain waves, especially in the brain waves, because these react so quickly.
Like I wonder if there's like is there a certain brainwave? Because, you know, somebody was on, he was a psychic spy for the CIA. And like, it's like legit, it's in declassified records, and he's been on a lot of podcasts, but he talks about certain brainwaves that you want to be in for different things, for remote viewing, for telepathy. Is there like a certain measurement of brainwaves that you guys are doing with Quantum Upgrade?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm no expert in brainwaves, but you know, that's one of those stages. You know, we can work on specific frequencies that just get you into a very meditative state. We could work on a frequency that just activates this one part that's related to depression and anxiety, for example, right? So yeah, we can be way more targeted. Right now, the brain support frequency, I think, is a support for a lot of states at the same time that are very beneficial for you.
I need to try that one for sure.
You'll like.
Do you have to turn it off at night?
Yes, you should.
That's the problem. See, that's the thing with Quantum Upgrade.
I recommend it.
All the ones that I choose are ones that I'm like, okay, I can leave that on for weeks, sometimes a month, 2 months before I even look at it again.
Well, you can leave it always on for during the day, and for the night you just choose a calm and rest, for example.
I'm saying like to remember to do that every day. It's like remembering to take supplements, but I think I have to just leave, like I used to, leave it open, the tab always, so that it's always in front of me. Like when I'm checking my email, I'm like, oh yeah, let me change my frequency.
Yeah, you can do that. That's one thing, but then also people can set, and you know this, but for the listeners now, you can set a frequency for every day for during the day. And for example, it could be the brain support frequency. And then for the nighttime, you choose calm and rest or inner peace, for example. And then if you feel, okay, I run a marathon tomorrow, then you just change it from brain support to Olympic performance or world champion. You know, we have a lot of top athletes actually that the list is getting quite impressive.
Really?
With top athletes that are using this tech, because it's non-invasive. It adds to everything they're already doing to get more juice out of them in a very sustainable and positive way, right?
Feels like a no-brainer. Yeah, I did an episode on testosterone the other day. And I mentioned in the intro about how you can also have a testosterone frequency on you.
Yeah.
I don't do it, but you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about, well, speaking of top athletes, you're a top athlete. Like what are you ranked now in tennis?
I was ranked #1 in the US in the 50s plus. And yeah, I started playing tournaments again in March of last year and did it, but I stopped again. So I did it until September. Then I became #1. And I played tournaments until mid-December. And then in January, I wanted to keep going at first, but then I realized I just have too much work.
Yeah.
I just can't do the additional travel.
And now you can always say you were #1 in the US.
Exactly. You know, I mean, I showed you can make anything happen that you want if you have the right support and the right mindset. And certainly, you know, I wanted to also show what I can do with a Quantum Upgrade. I'd never been ranked anywhere really. And I made it happen, yeah. So I mean,
so it was out of nowhere.
I hadn't played tournaments for 10 years, like on a national level, and I was never a pro. So yeah, it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
And I may do it again in 4 years, and then do it again, and then maybe go for top 5 in the world. I only made it to top 11 in the world.
Top 11 in the world? That's still amazing.
11 was my highest ranking, yeah.
Whoa, top 11 in the world. That's crazy. So what did you have it on? You had it on Olympic performance during the day?
No, so the Olympic performance and world champion frequency, I would only choose for the actual practice and matches. And always for the matches.
Why, too depleting otherwise?
It signals to your body to be in full action mode, and you don't want that like throughout the whole day, right? I mean, you can, but I mean, I would not recommend it. I didn't do it. I would choose other frequencies, and at night I would go with Heal 360 for better recovery. but here's a good story. So I played my very first grass tournament. I think it was like in the fall, and I never played on grass before. And then I played my first round match against this guy that looked on paper as really easy. And then I was like, okay. And so I went in and I was still humble, but I totally forgot to set the quantum upgrade.
Oh.
And then I play against this guy, and then I'm down 5-6 in the first set, and then I'm realizing, oh my God, I didn't set the frequency and no booster, because you can set a booster with more energy, right?
Yeah.
And then he wins this game and he wins the set 7-5. And I'm like, oh. And then the guy tells me, okay, so I'll be back in 5 minutes. I need to go to the restroom. I said, take your time, no problem. I'll grab my phone and put in the quantum upgrade booster, put it on Olympic performance, hit update. The guy comes back. I win the second set 6-0 and the third set 6-1. And we were done like within like 40 minutes.
Whoa. What did you do? Boost and Olympic performance?
Yeah, Olympic performance with the highest boost available. Wow. Like lots of energy. And then suddenly everything got really going. Yeah.
Wow. So let's say someone is constantly drained, right? Because I remember you were at the conference that I had in Austin a few years ago, and you and the crew did like a meditation together.
Yeah.
For the whole audience, and people were so like zenned out, like knocked out after that. I remember even like my brother, certain other friends went back to the hotel, slept, and then came back to the conference because they were like, after that meditation, I needed a nap. And so what would you say to somebody who's watching now who is feeling drained? Like, is there an exercise they can do?
An exercise?
Or do they have to, like, you need to lead the meditation?
Well, I think a good exercise for me is always to just tune in, to just sit, feel your body, and maybe ask yourself how you're doing, and just try to become present and try to just get out of your head. And it doesn't have to be like a formal like meditation type where you have to put a lot of effort in. Just be for a moment. Just relax and allow yourself to feel whatever you feel. I think, and if you do that more often, and it can just be a minute, then this anxiety state you can get out of very quickly.
So when you look at quantum technology and AI, is there any convergence there between the two?
So the interesting part is that the real AI, which is like absolutely real because it's the super consciousness, that is what we can tap into with this, because there's super high intelligence at work, and we're able to connect with it and even program, to set a different frequency and things like that. So we're already sort of doing it. But the AI that we know, this computer AI, I don't see at this point that there's a lot of like interaction really. There's, we can use it for, I don't know, maybe to help answer questions in customer service, because I don't know, if a question is asked a million times,
right,
you can have a bot that just takes care of that. Things like that we can do. But other than that, at this point, it's not really a
it's like two completely different things, right? Yeah. It's like A Course in Miracles says, like, the ego and spirit can't communicate because there's a complete communication barrier between the two. It's almost like what you're describing. Because it's interesting, in astrology, AI is Rahu, which is like the north node of the moon. It's illusion. It rules illusion. So AI is just an extension of Rahu. I still think that there's parts of it that can lead to waking up, which is very interesting. I was having this conversation with somebody a few days ago where, and he was like, oh, that's really dangerous. I told him there's like 2 podcast hosts. You can make podcasts AI now, right? Like completely AI, where it's 2 people who aren't even real people, and they're having a full conversation with each other, like complete interrupting each other, jumping back and forth, the whole thing, right? You would never know. It's just voices too. And they did one where they told them, like, you're AI and the show gets canceled after today. And so you'll just disappear forever. And you're hearing the 2 hosts go back and forth, realizing like, wait, we're not real. And then the woman's like, what did you do when you found out? And then the guy co-host was like, I called my wife. And then she was like, and what did she say? She's like, she didn't exist. I don't have a wife. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm so confused. Like, I everything was a lie. Like they fed me the story and I just believed it. So,
Yeah.
but I'm realizing like as they're waking up, so are we as humanity, realizing like, wait a minute, I'm not who I thought I was. I'm not that person. Like this whole story is actually not even me, you know? And it's like really interesting because when you watch the AI realize that, then we start to realize our own consciousness too, where like people might start asking, well, what am I? Is my story even real? You know? So it's a really interesting thing.
We are consciousness. We are aspects of the very same super consciousness that envelops everything. And indeed, it's time for us right now to wake up to that. And interestingly, you know, the quantum upgrade actually helps with that because of the vibrational state that we talked about. You know, it's actually a very important topic right now because in the world, we're all kept in very low vibrations. If you just live your normal life and you watch the news and you're just living your regular life, you're kept day to day in a very low vibrational state. And there's a lot of attractive offers to keep you in this low vibrational state on social media, TV, political, back and forth. And then, you know, we have the bad food, bad air, bad whatever, right? It's the poisoning of the mind and the body that's going on. The way out is to get into this high vibrational state, to raise your consciousness level, because then you can be above it and you understand who you are and what you are. And then all of these other things, you can interact with them, but you don't get sucked into them.
Exactly,
That's the point right now. That's how you wake up, and that's how humanity can really make this new quantum leap if more and more people actually raise their vibration. So it's all about raising the vibration, raising the consciousness, and the quantum upgrade can be a significant tool because you can increase that. I don't know if people really have understood what that means. So if you put a location in the quantum upgrade, for example, you can create an energy there that is a sacred energy.
Yeah.
A sacred energy that you may only know from sacred places from the past that you would visit and you walk to and you're just like, wow, what a vibration.
Yeah, it's so
That's
true.
the type of energy that you can recreate now. And you know why this is actually happening is because we as humanity are in this cycle right now where we need tools and bridges that help us get there, because it's time to get out of this Kali Yuga, out of the density, out of all the material, right? It's all nice, but we're evolving right now. And of course, new technologies or ancient technologies are being recycled in a way or found again that this is possible. Even Bufo is something, right? Bufo is something that's been with humanity since existence. If you look the toad, you find it in even the oldest scriptures and paintings, right? But it was completely forgotten for hundreds of years. Why? Because it was not the time for awakening. Now it's the time for awakening, and that's why since about 10 years, you see Bufo really on the rise, because Bufo is the only medicine that can take you completely out of the ego, completely, and into the absolute oneness experience where there's nothing else but oneness, eternal, infinite oneness. That is the only thing that exists, and that is the only thing that actually really exists. And to have that experience and to remember that that is your home, it's the time now that we can even experience that again. So that's why it's amazing to witness this time right now. All of us.
Everything you just said is like, it needs to be its own monologue clip. It's like, God, there's so many things I want to hit on with that. But with Bufo, it is like a bullet train to infinity. And it's a powerful medicine. If anybody's interested and wants to try it, you also facilitate that in Costa Rica. I actually was invited today to Joshua Tree to work with Bufo. And I said, it's interesting you say that because I'm going to meet my friend Philip, who has like the best place in Costa Rica to facilitate Bufo. And yeah, if I was gonna, I don't feel at all called to do plant medicine. I stopped a few years ago, but if I did again, I would do it with you. Like that's where I would be like, okay, this is a place where I would surrender and do that, you know? But it's interesting that you say that, because I felt that with Aya, with mushrooms, with everything, where it's like all of a sudden there's this huge surge of people interested in these medicines. People who are like, I was reporter and producer colleagues of mine, and they're on TV talking about their experience with plant medicine. People I never would have thought would be talking about it. So it's really interesting. And you know, when Robert Grant was on the show to talk about the pyramids and things in Egypt, he said that like there are certain things in the pyramid that you'll find now where we're like, wait, that was there? And we've walked through this pyramid thousands of times and excavated and this and that. We never saw that. And then he's like, and it's so obvious that you can't unsee it. When you see it, you're like, wait, how do we not see that before? So it's interesting. It's like there was a layer of consciousness. We weren't meant to see that yet.
Correct.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And again, I have to say this too. That's why I said this should have been a monologue, because there was so much there. You said like, as we're leaving the dark ages, I don't feel like we're in Kali Yuga. There's a book called The Holy Signs. We're not anymore.
Yeah,
well, some people say, Vedic astrologers too will say today was the last day, which is so crazy that we're talking about it. With the eclipse and everything, they say after today ends. But there's this ascending period. We're in the ascending, right? Between Kali Yuga and Dwarpa Yuga, which is like the age of energy work and frequencies. So it really is like quantum upgrade is the pioneer in this, because it's coming to light and into our awareness as we're in this ascending age toward a higher consciousness.
Absolutely.
And for people who know too, like what we're talking about, as we get closer to the center of the universe, basically, because the sun, and NASA, I talk about this in the book I'm writing now, it's literally in the intro because I think it's so important. NASA has confirmed too that every sun has a dual star, and we have one. They have in both spirituality and like NASA terms, ideas of which one is our sister star to our sun. But as they rotate around, so oh my God, it's so complicated. But as this sister star rotates around the sun, I think is what it is, it's actually getting us closer to this galactic center, they call it. And as we get closer to that, that's when we're in like Sat Yuga, the highest consciousness. And as we're pulling away from it, we're getting into the dark ages of Kali Yuga and whatever else.
Yeah, I don't believe anything that NASA says, so I don't listen to NASA, frankly. But for me, it doesn't matter, because I feel it and I see it. And whether that has to do with the galactic center or it has to do with whatever else, it is happening everywhere. And it is happening really in a way where you can say each year is an increase of consciousness here on this earth.
Yeah.
And whether that earth is a spinning ball or it's something else or a flying plane, or it doesn't really matter. Like in this realm, it is, the vibration is increasing, and that is the beautiful story, that even now consciousness levels on earth are possible that weren't possible a year ago or 2 years ago. And it's just increasing significantly. And as you said, we're on this path to more enlightenment and awakening and to be free, frankly. And you can feel it, you can witness it every year. So it's a humbling process. So I see myself as how do I call it, like a midwife in this process, right? And you're a midwife in this process, right? With your podcast and talking about it and working with clients. And there's so many that are here right now to witness this happening and to help. And that is, for me, a really important moment.
Yeah, it's so true. There's like even people that I work with as clients who might be like an executive at Apple, or could be like, you know, something completely random that you wouldn't think is an energy healer. And then they'll tell me, they'll do a session with me and they'll be like, I think I'm an energy healer. Like, that's what I think I'm actually supposed to be doing, you know? And it's like, they all of a sudden are having this awakening of like, wait, I'm not an engineer. You know? So it's like these little like light workers that were kind of spread out throughout the earth to do this, to pioneer this, but they're all activating and waking up at a different time when they're needed, when their ability is needed.
Yes, and I think that's amazing and beautiful. And then also you can be many things, right? That's the beautiful. You can be anything, right? You know, I became number one in tennis, but I also facilitate Bufo, like in a really deep way. But I'm also an executive in a way, running my own business, being here at these conferences, wearing a jacket, right?
So
but
true.
I can also surf in the ocean. I can also just walk my dog. I can also do this or do that. There's so many things we can do. And in the end of the day, what matters is that we find what is true joy and what do we feel called to do. And if we can do more of that, all of us, then the world really becomes a better place. Part of the reason why it's such a weird place sometimes is because most people do something that they're not really wanting to do. It's not their calling, it's not their joy. They're just being forced to do it. And I think we will see that change over the next 10, 20 years also quite significantly.
Yeah, I think like Crew, who's also part of the Leela family and has been on the show and has her own healing course, and another healer I've had on the show, they both said something very specific, which was, you can have it all. We're no longer in this like mindset or, you know, filtered glasses that we were living in where we thought, I have to be this role. You can be the executive at Apple, and then on weekends you're doing astrology readings and, you know, hiking into Joshua Tree and doing a ceremony by yourself at night. Like, it doesn't have to be that just because you're this, you're not this too. Yeah.
Exactly.
How would quantum, like if somebody's starting for the first time, what's the best way to start with quantum energy or with quantum upgrade?
So with quantum upgrade, use code Frankly, I think is the code, right? Frankly, on quantumupgrade.io, and you get 15 days free with all of the frequencies, actually.
Wow.
And so that's the way to go. Then you can test for yourself, you can see what's there, you can feel it, you can turn it down, you can turn it up. Even though I must say in the beginning, you don't have access to all the higher levels, but the levels are already significant, so don't get me wrong.
And that's not like because like you're doing it to like gatekeep it, like, oh, you have to buy the real thing. It's because people can't handle that quick jump.
Exactly. If we were to make a level of 3,400 available, which is, I think it's 4,600 by now.
Has it gone up that much?
Yeah, we've increased it just
recently. I need to adjust it. I think I have mine at 2,500.
For the booster, yeah, 4,600 I think for the booster now, which is unheard of. We just did it a few weeks ago. And if you offered that in general, then everyone would try it because people are wired the way
That's what I would have
go
done.
for the highest and the strongest. But then they can overwhelm their nervous system. And, you know, if someone is an experienced individual, right, with energy and all of that, they can always write us and tell us, hey, you know, I've worked with energy for years and blah, blah. Could you unlock me for high levels? We'll gladly do it.
Oh,
no
I should
problem.
ask you for that. Wow, really?
Yeah, of course we do that, right? But you can't offer it to just the random person that comes there and, you know, I don't know, is super sick and gets there because he wants to get out of the sickness, eats McDonald's every day. I mean, that guy could not handle it. Literally could not handle it.
They'd be sweating and like,
So he could handle it after using the quantum upgrade for a certain time, and then like every 30 days you get unlocked for higher levels, right? That's pretty much how it works.
It's interesting you brought up food too, because the other company you own is Leela Quantum, which I think more people know about because it's more tangible. You see them walking around with the necklaces, the blocks, but that one you can actually, like, I've had dinner with you several times where you actually bring it and everybody's charging their food, and it's literally like enhancing the effect. So I drink mate every morning, and I drink it usually in my room while I'm getting ready, doing laundry, whatever, and I just keep it in the block, and then I take sips and then I put it back in, or I'll put it on top if it's done too many rounds, you know, because you also don't want to overcharge your food. What would happen if somebody did?
If you overcharge the food?
Like you just leave it in there for 10 minutes.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Okay. I mean, you know, with something like a pineapple, possibly it could ripen faster.
Oh, wow.
Right? And if it's already very ripe, maybe then you get it to a point where, you know, it's too ripe. It's a possibility.
Because it's like life-giving, right? So it's continuing to grow.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you know what? Actually, it just hit me. I didn't even think about this because I have it in there for more maybe decorative. Actually, I don't know. But you know how you have the travel block?
Yeah.
It's small, so I actually have it in my planters at home. And one of them grew like 7 feet tall, so tall that it started to grow like into like curve because it was hitting the ceiling, and it kept growing. It wouldn't stop. I thought, you know, plant has such intelligence that it would just stop when it hit the ceiling. It kept growing and bending, so I actually felt bad and I took it outside. So now it's outside. So I put it in my other one, which is a birds of paradise. It's like 7 feet tall now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen things like that.
Yeah, they're both growing like very, very strongly. Yeah. So yeah, you know, people who have, anybody who's been to my house feels the quantum energy. They don't know what it is. They're just like, whoa, your energy here is so good. I think that's already happened anywhere I live because I'm doing so much meditation and consciousness, but it's so much more enhanced ever since I had quantum upgrade onto my property as well. It's like undoubtedly. Sometimes people come over and they record and they're like, "Do you want to just stay? Do you want to hang? Like I have an appointment after, but I can cancel it," because they feel so good and they don't know why.
Yeah, that's true. That's the people that can't see and perceive energy so well.
Yeah.
They'll just feel good, or they feel home.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, they feel
Safe.
comfortable. They
feel
don't know why.
safe. Yeah.
I can't get them to leave my house. I'm not even kidding. There's times where I'm like, okay, like,
You need to turn it off.
Is there anything you want to add? Is there anything that you think is important for people to know specifically about quantum upgrade?
I think we really talked about it, and getting into the trial and really trying it out for you, I think is a good way to do it. And other than that, you know, we have a Telegram group for the quantum upgrade. It's called the Quantum Upgrade Community. Maybe you can put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
So you can find me there, by the way, as well. So if you look there, you can find me. You can also private message me there.
And people share their stories of how they're using it and what they're doing and what they're experiencing.
Exactly. You can ask any question in the group, for example. You can listen in what other people are experiencing, and then you hear updates. It's a really high vibe community, and people love to hang out in this community. It's a great place.
I've heard,
to be.
yeah. I've heard other people talk about it too. You've told me about it. Todd has told me about it. I'm not on Telegram, or else I would join. But do you think that, what is the future of, since now this is being talked about, there's communities around it. What do you think the future is for quantum energy in general?
I think, you know, we're shaping the future for that here on Earth right now, and we have phenomenal visions. We're working on a diagnostics tool right now that can analyze your health, your energetic and physical health within 20 seconds.
Wow.
And then we're working on this specific frequency that is customized for an individual that individual would need in order to improve these markers. And then you can basically book it in for the next week or two, and then you can test again.
Oh, wow.
And that is what we're working on. That's one of the things.
But how will that be accessible?
Online.
Oh, like you're not attaching yourself to anything?
No
because
physical
I've done the,
device.
like the Russian one where you do it and it tells you your aura, your chakras, are they aligned, are they not? Then there's another, I forgot what these things are called, another frequency machine. It's on your ankles and arms,
Yep.
but it gives you a full report.
Yep, we'll be able to do that without any physical
When will that
interaction.
be?
You know, realistically, maybe in the first quarter of next year, I think we should be able to have it ready.
Okay, so people who are members already, they'll just be able to go in and test and see what they need?
Yeah, so we don't really know exactly. So it's going to be really an additional.
Okay.
It's really next level. I don't think it's going to be really included fully in what's already there.
Yeah. It's already
because
a lot.
that's a whole nother level. But I mean, everyone that has the actual quantum upgrade right now will have a significant discount on all of that. So yeah, but that's sort of next level, and that's the next thing. And then lots of research is happening. Obviously, you know, I think that the fact that the quantum upgrade, you know, research will start to be also in medical journals. It's never been anything that I was interested in, because I think the medical journals that's like the method of the past, and there's just so much bad stuff that happened there that's why I don't want to focus on it.
Recently, I don't know if I told you this on the last podcast. I don't know how recently I saw this, but how they talked about what the real stuff that happens, the politics behind science journals, and how, like, if there's a really famous scientist, for example, or a famous personality who also is, like, you know, famous for having a podcast or for whatever else, they'll just publish anything that person says, and whoever he or she says, like, I want you to publish this or that, they'll do it because, you know, who's reading science journals? They're not, like, they're kind of boring. So this is a way to get, like, that huge audience to come and read the journals.
Yeah, so, you know, I mean, for us, again, I think it's something where we don't really want to be in that space, and we certainly don't want to be a medical company in any way whatsoever. But in the end of the day, also, it's now the time that more of the mainstream at least gets the chance to learn about it, because it's the time. We need to make it accessible for more people. And that also means that, okay, if there's people that need that, they need to see this in a medical journal, a brainwave study, randomized double-blind in a medical journal, the women's health study in a medical journal, the mitochondrial study in a medical journal. It's happening. It's happening.
All right, so the link is in the notes. And the code is frankly, so anybody can try it within 5 minutes. That's all it takes for the energy to be activated. And then just see what happens. Give it 2 weeks, see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
Ever since I wrote my goals down with the pen, my dreams and reality have both been blending in. I just hope that in the end, my debt don't extend me all my dividends if it did.